as time changes and hunters advance, a lot of the stuff that I've had easy access to around my house is just starting to get really just pounded now. So I've been expanding and trying to scout new areas and learn new spots and find new targets. So Eric Jeske, a friend of mine, and myself have been wanting to scout this big swamp we know of that I used to hunt 15, 20 years ago, but never really got fully into it. And now with better mapping tools and stuff, it was a little easier. This is a pretty remote area and pretty nasty as soon as you get back there, and it's a long ways back. So what I like about this swamp is it looks to me like the best areas would be way in the back, which I would think would be hard for anybody to access. So there's a series of islands out there, probably 5, 6 islands that are long like cigar shaped, running north and south, and they're not very big. They're maybe an acre at most. And I know that they hold oak trees, and I'm assuming if I could get back there when the acorns are dropping, this could be a good area. So my intent was to find early season spots in this area. I don't know if any of you know Eric here, Eric Jeske.
Hello.
From the Beast. What's your name on the Beast?
Uncle Buck, 3268.
We're out scouting a remote swamp right now. This is pretty nasty in its temperature. What do you think it is, like 80?
82.
Yeah, it's pretty hot. I'm sweating bricks. So we found this ridge out in the middle of dense swamp. I mean, it's dense swamp, and we got these giant oak trees. And you can see some old husks and stuff on the ground. So I know they've been, there's been acorns here dropping on occasion. But it doesn't look like last year, so maybe this year we'll have a good crop. I can't see up there well enough to see if there's anything up there. But this is worth a check, you know, in season, worth a hunt. Now right away, I saw a trail coming off the tip here. I mean, most of this stuff you can't even get through. And there's a trail going in right there. You can kind of see it, I'm sure. And Eric pointed out, that's a little thick when you get back in there a little bit for deer's antlers, for a buck with the antlers, right?
I would agree, yes.
Yeah, but that's where I expected them. I mean, when we were walking over here, remember what I said?
Yes.
That we'd be better right off this point coming into these oaks. So our access would have to be from behind us. But when we looked a little closer, there's a little more faint trail coming off the tip over here. There's one right here going through that little opening there. But there's one right here that's a pretty good trail that goes through the opening over there. And you can see everything where a deer's rack would go through is busted down. I don't know, well, you can see that. You can see that right, Eric?
It's a nice open wide trail.
Yeah, that's the buck trail, I'm sure of it. So if the bucks are going to come walking up here, does are going to come walking up here, go this way. And I'm thinking if we can get a wind coming through like this, I'm thinking that poplar over here, we can slip into without ever having to really touch this ridge. So then hopefully deer can get past us without, you know, busting us. Oh, I can see some historical rubs right there.
Yep. There's a good, decent trail kind of running the edge of this.
Yeah, that's what it looks like. They'd go right through there,
Yep.
Which is about 20 from the tree. And I think the poke to that first oak is probably 25, maybe 30 if you count that oak way over. But that's a doable shot. That tree right there I'm going to mark.
I think that one on the end, Dan, is actually a maple.
Is it?
Yep.
Okay.
We're not going to be back there.
All right, well that's good because
Yep.
25 is good enough for shot.
Even a little closer.
All right. So I mean, these are isolated oaks, the only oaks out here. So really, they're either feeding on plants or they're feeding on acorns. When the acorns are dropping, these things are like candy. These deer are going to be out here.
Mm-hmm.
So spot check this. Yeah, I mean this huge swamp. These are the only oaks.
Yep.
I mean, we got one more point we're going to check over there. You can see it sticking out. But other than that, those are the acorns here. I mean, literally, one of us could sit here and one of us could sit out on that point. We could cover this whole area, and if there's any bucks in here feeding on the acorns, which are coming in daylight, we got them. I like this.
There's a lot of bedding out here for them.
Yeah.
There's a lot of growing.
Well, let's mark it.
do it.
So coming back here, we ran into some hunter sign right away. Tree stand. Actually, a couple fresh boot tracks. There's somebody so nuts they're coming back here at this time of the year. I don't know who'd be that stupid.
I don't know.
Yeah, they gotta be nut jobs. But somebody was back here. We saw their boot prints and stuff. But you know, after getting in a couple hundred yards of swamp and nastiness and thick and fight your way through, we lost all human sign.
Sign started to fall off.
And now when we got way back in, now we're starting to pick up on deer sign pretty good. And we've been finding into swamp and into water islands that come up that have oaks on them, and they look pretty good. So I think it's a matter of hopping around and checking out those islands. Now in here we found what looks like a nice ridge that's isolated way back. And actually, if anybody's getting back there, I think they're coming from private. But I haven't seen any sign of a hunter yet. There is some pretty nice tracks, so I mean, this track here is pretty huge. You see that?
That is a good sized track.
Eric walked right over that. He's like blind. He couldn't see it.
You know, Dan always tells the truth.
I spotted it from a mile away. Actually, Eric found it.
Yeah, we picked up on this good trail running the bottom here and walked across this track. So this is
Yeah, it's definitely the best track we've seen. We've seen some good historical rubs too, and I mean right here you can see some just dandy historical ones.
Yeah, quite a few.
Look at the one over there and the one up there on just huge trees. So
I think we're kind of onto something here.
yeah, let's look a little back this way. We're kind of at the property line, so let's check some of this stuff out.
That track is within the last 2 days, I think.
Yeah, there's something big running back here. If this ain't getting pressure, this would probably be a heck of a spot for a rut sit. I bet you, you know, if you got a rare east wind, man, they would run this, looking to smell those does down in that swamp, they'd run this back and forth, this trail.
I'm curious to see what kind of egg is up on top, because I see corn husks from last year.
So there's probably beans on top.
Yep.
Yeah, there's still good tracks on here. They're not even the same one, it's still good tracks. So I think this would be run quite a bit by deer during rut. You're gonna run right alongside the, even if it's not a, you know, east wind.
Oh, even a west
The
wind.
deer are going to be going up onto the private for crops and stuff in oaks,
right.
so the bucks are going to want to cut them off right on this trail. I'm sure that this is a rut cruising trail.
Those does are going to be up there before those bucks want to get up.
Yeah, all this rub marking, all these trees being marked with rubs. There's definitely bucks cruising this, marking it. So yeah, my first thing was I was thinking when the scent's coming out of the swamp, they'd be sitting here. But now thinking about it, you know, I think the does are coming out of the swamp and feeding up here, so they're crossing the doe trails. Right here is a good cross trail. This might be the spot to be. See this?
Yep.
So do you have both trails?
Yep. And this is your classic parallel trail here.
Yeah. Yep, they both come together right here. And this is where all the rubbing was, right here. So we should mark this spot. Right here would be a good spot. So this spot here, we're way the heck back along the same ridge we were along earlier, but now we're in really thick cover adjacent to bedding where I think a buck would be willing to move in daylight, especially during the rut. I think this is a good rut spot.
Yep.
What we noticed is as we went along this heavy trail that goes through here, is we found this trail here coming up out of the swamp and out of bedding, and it goes up the hill here into some doe bedding and into private land, into crops, and then there's another heavy trail that goes that way. And they're just pounded with trails. When you get up where it's softer, you can really see them, but everything comes together right here. It's not ideal for a setup, but I think we could get a wind going this way. We're not going to screw this, we're not going to screw that, and we could get right in that tree right there and hit this trail and hit that trail and really cover this whole area.
I think it's a
And,
decent setup.
Actually, Eric picked out the tree, but I like it. I think it's a good spot.
I think it could work.
I think we still need to check out one island way back here.
Yes, we do.
And I think we got
need
this
to-
covered.
We need to also check some of these trails out here.
Yeah, on the back side of that, because literally we could hit the swamp from up there too. That's a good point. Yeah, let's check that out. Yeah, look at all these tracks on here.
Oh, yeah.
You marking it?
Yep, I got it marked.
So we got a couple of big oak trees here, this little island top here. And on the map, when we zoom in, down in here in the swamp, coming out of dogwood and red brush, is just heavy, massive trails coming to here. You get in here, it doesn't look like much, but there's a couple of big oak trees in here. And we're looking, we'd have to come in straight from this direction. And I think I'd go right up this tree, this oak tree, and be able to cover this little opening here. And all those trails kind of come together here. Ain't a lot of sign, but when you look at the map, it kind of gives it away. And I think it's worth a sit, especially early season, especially if the acorns are dropping.
I would agree.
It'd be a heck of a haul getting a deer out of here, though.
It would, but that's why we have friends.
Right, right. No, this looks okay.
Yeah, I think this could work.
I think it'd be the edge of darkness to come poking out of here, but this is pretty remote. I don't think anybody else is hunting here. I mean, it looks like somebody got back here and cut some lumber or something, but we did find right underneath this tree, I don't know where it went, there was here it is, a beer can from 1967 from last person that sat here. It's got a pull tab. It's right underneath this tree. So the tree was probably about 6 inches smaller in diameter or 8. And somebody hunted right here. Either that or it's from a logger.
I would think it's a hunter. Don't climb tree stands and be drinking, it's not safe.
Right. You can't read what kind of beer it was. If I was on alone, I'd make that into a pocket knife, 2 fishing lures.
Yeah, that would
You know,
be
and,
awesome for a fishing lure. Make a little spinner out of it.
Yeah, and an egg fryer on the top.
There you go. Ingenuity.
All right, you ready to get out of here?
What do you think, Dan, about checking out some of these trails and seeing how some of these
Where you-
bucks might be accessing
how they're
this
coming in here?
island? Yep.
Okay, I can already tell you. I think you see a little opening there. I could see the big bucks coming through there, or I could see them coming through here where that little opening over there. And little crap would probably just come in from everywhere. But I know the bucks are probably coming from that way based on the trails and the sign. But yeah, I think you're right. We probably should look, but I'm willing to bet there they got a little cover, but they ain't gonna have to pull their racks through that jungle. So I would want to look there and there. Not that it matters if we have the wind in our face, they come into this open, we got them killed here, but let's check it out. Go ahead.
Let's go take a look.
Oh, there is a good trail there in there.
Yes, there is.
It's kind of funny how you can kind of read that stuff, right?
Tracks in here.
None right now, but there ain't really oak trees dropping yet either.
Yeah.
And it just poured yesterday. Oh, look at all the rubs.
Oh yeah. Yep.
So yeah, this is it.
This is the trail.
So you can kind of see how they're picking a trail that's open, but it's got, you know, enough cover to hide them.
It's thick.
Yeah.
It's thick.
So, like I said, you're not going to come through that stuff. You might get does and small bucks come through it, but there's going to be a trail where they come in. And it kind of is usually off of the points. But yeah, decent to see there's rubs here. Let's check the other opening.
Yep. Dan, can you just drop this?
I did not.
Over here.
I did not. Look at that.
You gotta find.
You got yourself a
You know what?
trophy, huh?
There's even deer hair on the knife.
Yeah, somebody got one back here. Probably gun hunting. Oh, it's sharp
It
too.
is very sharp.
Congrats, man.
Thanks. I'll hang on to this.
Yeah, it's better than a shed antler. Look at the backside, looks pretty nice.
It is a pretty nice.
It's dulled up on this side from facing the sun. But
Yeah, this is old and worn and used. Look
you
at
just
that.
need some wash on that, yeah.
It was a good find. I'm
Nice,
happy.
nice. Congrats, man.
Thanks.
Cool. So now we know not only is that a good deer trail, it's a good gutting trail.
It is.
Yeah, so somebody's been back here.
Yeah.
That's actually the first sign we've seen of a hunter back here.
It is.
But there's no place gun hunters don't get. You know.
Yep.
So here's the other opening. I don't see no rubs or anything, but there really ain't trees to rub. Here's the trails. Yeah. It just drops down in the cattails. I'm sure there's some that come in here but doesn't have the cover. Oh, there's rubs on those trees. See that?
Oh, sure enough.
Yeah, there's some rubs. So right back in there is where I saw all those trails coming here. And then they spider into all over around the front of this this tip. So when you zoom in on Google Earth.
Very well defined trails.
Yeah, so they're using this one too. Just not using it now.
Right. No oaks yet.
Alright, we got a long way to get before it gets dark out. So we should probably start heading it.
Yeah, let's hit it.
Alright, let's go.
So far, we didn't think we saw a lot of human sign back here, but we ran across a pocket knife with a little deer hair on it, and now we're running into some gutting gloves. So we're thinking this is probably gun season.
Yeah, and these gutting gloves aren't where the knife was.
No.
So it's two different deer that got shot. I'm thinking gun season like you said, but the pressure over here is certainly higher than what it was in the other spots. You know, and there's not as much big buck sign here either.
No, there's not. We found those two entrances to the island with minimal rubs.
Yeah, I do think there's some potential here if acorns are dropping early season. And I think the rut has potential in the other spot we're looking at.
Yeah, yep. I do like that spot.
Yep. Good eye.
A little better than here maybe.
What kind of wussy uses gutting gloves and a knife? I just use my teeth. Teeth and my finger. The hook.
The three-fingered hooker is awesome for gutting. Just throw that thing in there and pull the guts out.
You see this? Look at that.
Yeah, there's.
You know what you do with those? You take it out and you put it in that tree over there.
I said I have never gutted a deer in my life with gloves on. I'm not even sure what it feels like. So if anybody out there can let us know, that would be appreciated.
Doesn't Ozzy Osbourne have a song about that? Fairies wear gloves.
You're right, I think he does.
What do we got here? Hoisting rope. I hope that's for hunting and not sexual. That ain't a rainbow package, is it? No, it's kind of camouflage. Okay.
Yeah, it's camouflage. But it does say highly reflective.
This guy was a slob. He just hid it under the leaves, whatever he had in here.
Yeah. I wonder what was in there. So we're coming across
Probably a sandwich.
A lot of human sign back here
A
now.
lot of sign in this area right here.
Beer cans,
Yeah.
hoisting rope, cut trees,
Yeah.
knives, gutting gloves.
Yep, we're coming out with more garbage than we went in with.
What we ended up finding on this trip was a couple islands that looked like opening week with a good acorn drop, they could be good. But there was pressure coming right up the middle. We found tacks, we found gloves, we found a knife, we found beer cans, we found climbing sticks, and we even ran into recent boot prints of somebody that was there just a few days before us. So we knew somebody was hunting it, but they were doing the typical right up the middle, right to the main spots you see on a map well, and right back out that way. They had a trail set in. The islands I liked were mainly just off to the side of the main series of islands, and were being kind of ignored, maybe because they're much smaller than the other islands, but they're being ignored because the hunter sign was coming in all the way from the way we were and just going up a series of islands and had one trail in, one trail out. So they're missing the stuff to the sides, and I think deer were picking up on that. And we also found a couple good rut spots. And those spots look pretty intriguing and pretty good. And I'm interested in giving those a shot. I was really expecting to find pressure back there, but not the way I found it. I was expecting the pressure to be coming from private to public on the backside of the swamp where there was no public access. But really the pressure was coming from the public, from guys coming in the way I was coming in. And kudos to them that they can get back that far. Because I can tell you what, it'd be a nightmare getting a deer out of there. Hope you enjoyed the video this week. I had fun making it. As usual, really appreciate it if you hit the subscribe button. See you later.